I really enjoy helping people and just being there for people. You see the best and the worst in people's lives, so you get to be a part of that. That can be quite challenging personally and emotionally draining, but it's also quite rewarding. It's not always about the flashing lights, the car accidents or the big media stories. It's usually the little things, and it's the people and the stories behind them. It's their journey and being involved in that. A few years ago I was sent to pick up an elderly gentleman from a rest home. He'd been referred through to hospital by his GP. I don't remember having to do much medically for him, but he told me his story, and I talked to him about how long he'd been at the rest home. He'd been there for 18 months and he'd moved there with his wife. He then said to me that his wife had died after 6 months of being there, and so he'd been alone for a year, and he'd lost his best friend and his soulmate, and unfortunately for him he was legally blind, and he was gutted. He started crying and he was quite emotionally upset and actually very scared to go to hospital, and he had to go alone because he didn't have anyone else. I felt like there was not much that I could do for him other than to listen to him and hear his story. I held his hand and I empathised with him, and I cried with him on the way to hospital, and that really affected me. The public needs to be aware that St John is a charity and we have limited funding to do what we do every day. It takes a huge amount of money to support this organisation to provide the care that we do. The public also needs to be aware that there's a huge number of volunteer staff that support this organisation, especially in rural towns and communities where there's limited funding to support a paid staff member. The work we do saves lives, but it also supports the community so much more ways than just medical care. Where there is a helping hand, a shoulder to cry on, we support people in the worst times of their lives that they don't know how to recover from, and we're there standing by them. So your support means a huge deal both to myself but also to the members of the public that we serve. So it's more than a job, it's a family, it's a community, and it's what I love.